Hello and welcome to Geekified, and you return for part 2 of our roundup of 2020. In this part, we shall talk about the best watches of 2020. Chris, you take it away with the must watches.
Right, so this is all the good stuff, and I've potentially picked out a lot of stuff that I think that maybe people didn't see, and it's just why I think it kind of sat under the radar, apart from a couple of them were obviously, one's blatantly obvious, one bloody going to pick. But for me, one that really sat under the radar, didn't seem to do very well. It did get a lot of good reviews, and that was Netflix kind of religious drama Messiah. Yeah, I'm not sure a lot of people had seen it. There's not a lot of people I know have seen it. Nathan's obviously seen it, he's nodding. But it was really, really good. It was Michelle Monaghan playing an FBI agent investigating somebody who's basically saying they're the second coming of Jesus. But it's done in a very, very kind of CIA drama-y way. It's incredible. And then they cancelled it. So number 2, now this one goes out to anybody who misses Leslie Nielsen, who loves Police Squad, who loves that kind of humour from things like Airplane. Another brilliant Netflix TV show, it's called Medical Police. I was wetting myself. I've watched it probably 2-3 times now. For me, it is absolutely hilarious. Proper, stupid, idiotic. 2 doctors that seem to think they're police officers and want to investigate something. And when I say take a minute to watch one episode and expect it to be stupid and slapstick, and you'll love it. Number 3, super popular. Everyone loves it. Actually, I think it's my last Netflix one. Super popular, everyone loves it, and that is The Fantastic Sex Education with Gillian Anderson. I can't remember the guy's name. Butter jumping, whoever he is. Sex Education, amazing. Season 3 is on the way. They're filming it right now. It is hilarious. Some of the smartest, most intelligent humour and kind of coming of age comedy that I've watched in a long time. Number 4. Fantastic. Another one that came out under radar again a wee bit. It was from the Lonely Island group, and that is Palm Springs. Almost a Groundhog Day type of film. I won't explain too much, but it's very, very good, very, very funny, and it's got a lot of sincerity to it as well, which I think is what grounds it a bit better than other stuff. And then my number 1, which funnily enough happened to land in someone's top number 1, is Tenet. I think Tenet was possibly one of the most genius films that's came out. There's a lot in it. There's a lot to unpack. I've watched it 4 times now, and I absolutely loved it. I've actually watched videos with physicists who discuss it. Big shout out to the guy. Oh, I forgot his name. I should have wrote it down. But there's a guy on YouTube who talks about an Aussie physicist, and he's fantastic. He talks about Tenet and Rick and Morty and stuff as well. But I've watched loads about it. But Tenet is my absolute solid number 1 to watch.
Fair enough. Chris is deluded and his opinions don't count. We shall move over to Nathan for his best list of 2020.
Okay, I want to just say my number 5 spot, I had 4 different things in that place and they've changed over the day. So the 3 that lost out were I May Destroy You, Auntie Donna's Big Old House of Fun, which is one of the funniest things I've seen in years. And I loved Normal People it was called on BBC, the Irish one, which I thought was a fantastic under the radar, which grew into this sleeper hit, and it was so well acted by 2 very young actors. I thought it was really good. And the scene when the guy's friend kills himself, I was bawling, crying. I mean, middle of lockdown, but I was bawling.
Spoiler alert.
Oh yeah, sorry. Everyone's seen it now. Jesus Christ.
I've not seen it.
I've not seen it. I was going to go watch it, but now I know the whole outcome.
That's not the whole outcome. It's not that important a thing in the whole thing. Right. It is important, annoying. So yeah, the thing that came at number 5, recently out on Netflix, possibly one of the biggest dramas out there at the moment. That's The Queen's Gambit. I mean, I'm a lover of chess. I'm a lover of Anna Taylor-Joy or Joy Taylor. Which way around do you say her name?
Anya Taylor-Joy.
Anna Taylor. She was terrible in New Mutants. She's absolutely fantastic in this, and I think I said this to Chris before. The actress who plays her mother in it, I forget her name, stole that whole show for me in a really understated way. It was absolutely fantastic piece of acting, and just I mean, Jess is cool anyway. I don't care what anyone says, and this just made it cool again. Number 4, I actually went. This is the last film I saw in the cinema before lockdown in March. Blumhouse's The Invisible Man.
Good show.
which I've been reading quite a few this week of like top 20 films from 2020, and this is in the top 5 of a lot of like well-known critics' films. It built suspense better than almost anything I've ever watched. You know, where suddenly the camera will move to like a nothing corner of a room, and you're like, and the whole time you're thinking, is the guy going to be there or is he not? And the bit when he comes up through the thing and they throw the paint on him, I absolutely shat myself in the cinema. Like I had to get like ask for nappies and shit. It was that it scared me that much. Number 3, The Boys season 2. Absolutely blew me away. It started off and I thought, I'm not sure if this is going to be as good as the first season, and it just continued to get better and better and better and better. A much more complex story, obviously a much bigger budget, with an awesome twist at the end of the season. But yeah, absolutely fantastic. And my top 2 have changed order a few times today, but I'm going to stick with this. So number 2, I'm going to go Tenet. If you guys haven't watched mine and Chris's drunk review of it, go and watch it. It is. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I mean, me and Chris were blown away by it coming out of the cinema. Just utterly fantastic. And Mark obviously knows nothing, so he didn't like it. And number 1, we just finished watching it. It's just had a review of it. Disney Plus's The Mandalorian season 2. I've never seen a show that just continues to get better so much and just throws all convention out the window. You know, this episode's going to be 31 minutes. Next episode's going to be 58 minutes. Next episode's going to be 41 minutes because Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have gone, that's how long the story is. We're not going to put any filler in, and we're not going to cut anything out we don't need. So we're just going to make it. And he's been given carte blanche to do that. He's told Kathleen Kennedy to get to fuck, basically. I'm going to do what I want. And now the fact that they're in charge of the Boba Fett and basically the whole Star Wars universe now on TV anyway, is a fantastic thing, I think, for Star Wars going forward. And it just blew me away. And Pedro Pascal, I've never seen somebody act so well without seeing their face for most of the show. It's just amazing. Yeah, my top 5.
Nice.
Okay, there is Nathan's top 5 of 2020. Once again, Tenet creeping in there. We shall have a discussion of that sooner than later, boys. But you're both wrong. Nick, what is your top watches of 2020?
So my top 5 I've put as number 5, Bad Boys for Life. Loved it. It was a great way to end the Bad Boys trilogy. Number 4, it's obviously just been newly released, but Death to 2020. Thought that was really good. Nice satirical piss take everything that's went on this year, and I think it was badly needed with all the negativity that's been going about. Number 3, I didn't think I'd enjoy it, but the live action Mulan. The fact that they took the time to get everything historically accurate with it really blew me away, and some of the action scenes as well. Number 2, I put Mandalorian season 2. Again, really loved it. It's ultimate quality over quantity show, as obviously Nathan touched upon. The fact that, you know, even if you're talking about the first season, the fact that they rammed in so much quality into 30 minutes is unreal, and it's big props to Favreau for doing that. And number 1, you're going to hate me, but I put Tenet as well. I'm a big Christopher Nolan fan anyway, but I just really liked it, and I thought the way he done the end was really good. And the fact that, you know, I would disagree with you saying that it was, you know, because the issues with Cineworld and Odeon and stuff. I just think that was going to happen anyway, with the way the pandemic was thrown out. So I would disagree with you on that bit, but I think that the film itself was fantastic.
Okay, I'd like to point out to our viewers that the magic in Mulan is not historically accurate.
Minus that bit.
Just to warn you there, magic has never been historically accurate. And we will move to Tony for his must-watches of 2020 now.
So, Mark, are you saying Game of Thrones isn't historically accurate?
I'm sorry, it was just with Nick's comment of historically accurate.
Well, all the clothing, when you talk about minus the magic bit, the clothing, you know, the fact they actually filmed it, you know, as well.
Oh no,
dude,
I totally know. I completely agree with you on that. I just wanted to make the joke about the magic isn't historically accurate. That's all. I actually thought the Mulan, like the armor and all the skill and time taken into that was excellent.
Yeah.
But sorry, we'll move over to Tony now.
Yeah. Well, Mark, you'll love me. Tenet does not exist in my list whatsoever.
Yes.
I'm a big Nolan fan, but not on this occasion. Close. A few things that were close to the list were Normal People, that Nathan said, The Boys, which I loved, season 2. Was it The Invisible Man? I think Nathan mentioned as well. Yeah, it was fantastic. But anyway, my top 5. This is what I have seen is I've not watched as much as I should have, because when I was going through lists that other people did, I was like, there's still some great films out there and TV shows that just did not make it to be seen because they weren't on Netflix, they weren't on Amazon Prime, you know. So, and we are actually missing quite a lot of good stuff that's on terrestrial TV. I know. So my January and February is going to be made up catching up with all that cool stuff. Now, I was quite surprised that, and I was happy to add it in. My number 5 is kind of a documentary-esque. It's Tiger King, Murder, and Madness, because it just summed up how crazy 2020 was going to get. I just couldn't believe it. I love that sort of stuff. And it just shows you how mad the world actually is.
It's a good documentary.
Yeah, it's just blew me away. Number 4, I love my army films, so I'm going for Extraction. I thought it was just a very, very simple story. Get someone A to B. I love Chris Hemsworth. It was just a great action film. So it was good to go back to that. Number 3 is Mando. It was Star Wars back at its best. It's easy. It's fast viewing. Very simple. It's just exactly what Nick and Nathan said. It's just the season finale was just mind blowing. My number 2, I've got Mangrove, which was Steve McQueen's part of his Small Axe films that he did. Letitia Wright is in it. Jack Lowden and Malachi Kirby, who was on stage with in London. Absolutely fantastic little mini film. Go and watch them if you can. And the story, it's all based on true stories. And the lead in it is Shauna Parks. And he will get nominated for a BAFTA for TV or /film. It depends how they're going to fit that in, because it's sort of like mini films, so it could be either way. But phenomenal little mini TV film there by Steve McQueen. And from one queen to another, it is the Queen's Gambit. I loved it because I tried to join the chess club when I was at school. I'd never played it in my life. It lasted literally 2 minutes. I just wanted to be a part of the group because it looked really cool. And my mum got me a chess. I just loved the whole concept of chess. But yeah, Anna Taylor-Joy, absolutely fantastic. Made chess cool again. And the mum was played by Marcella Heller, who stole the show. So
I forgot to look and see what she's been in before, because I remembered her face.
Yeah, like when I see her, I was like, is it perfect? So it'd be good to. So there's a few, like I think for sure, Anna Taylor will be nominated for a Golden Globe, 100%, and maybe supporting actress, her mum, for sure.
So we're seeing a lot of love for Mando and a lot of love for the Queen's Gambit. Yeah. Quite a good bet for Tenet as well.
Sorry, Mark, can I just ask Tony what school he went to where the chess club was cool?
Well, I went to private school. I went to Stuart College. It was an old boys' school. You see. Well, I actually did it because you were getting up to you just got points and stuff, so you had to join as many clubs as possible. So
a little view into private school life there for the rest of us common folk.
Chess club. I was like, what's this do?
So wait, what clubs did you actually take if you weren't able to get into chess club?
like that. This is my night. Is it? No, you can't play it like that. I was like, oh, it sucks.
Did you think you were just playing checkers the whole time?
It's like it's black and white. Come on, just do that.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Okay, so that was Tony's must-see of 2020. Now on to my own list. There's a lot of movies that I wish I could put onto this list, but they will not all fit into a 5-place list. So I'm going to give some special shout-outs to Palm Springs, Bill and Ted Face the Music, Possessor, and Death to 2020. But in my official 5th slot is A Defy Bloods by Spike Lee. This was the last movie starring the late, great Chadwick Boseman. And what a send-off it is. You know, horribly, bitterly ironic that his character dies young in this movie as well. But if you haven't seen it, it is a buddy movie about 4 buddies that go back to the Vietnam War to recover some gold they hid there during the war. And it is dark, satirical, comedic in points, heartwarming in points, and tragic altogether. It is fantastic movie making at its best, with deep characters, something that Christopher Nolan could learn from. Protagonist in Tenet. Yeah, aye, well done. Great writing there. On to my second pick. It is actually from terrestrial TV, and it was staged, starring David Tennant and Michael Sheen. It was the two of them just chatting on web camera, much like what we are doing now, but about their much more fantastic celebrity lives, with their partners coming in to ground it in reality every once in a while. Stage just summed up Zoom calls perfectly throughout 2020. My third pick is actually the latest movie I watched. I only watched it last night, and it is Spontaneous. It is a rom-com starring Kathleen Langford of 13 Reasons Why Not to Watch This Show fame. And she completely, it just embodies a different character in this movie. If you were not going to watch it because you didn't like 13 Reasons Why, please ignore that and watch, because Spontaneous is easily the best teen comedy of 2020. In my second place is I'm Thinking of Ending Things. It is a very complicated, weird, and intricate movie starring the excellent Jessie Buckley, who I first learned of in Chernobyl, which is also excellent. And directed by Charlie Kaufman of Being John Malkovich fame. I'm not a big Charlie Kaufman fan, so if you think you have to like his weird intricacies to enjoy this movie, no, you don't. I think this is the least him movie he has made so far, but it is easily the best. And in my number 1 spot is The Mandalorian Season 2, because there's just a simple line in the finale of, oh great, what's one X-Wing going to do? Which at 8 a.m. on a Friday morning, I genuinely shouted with joy at the television, knowing what's coming next. And TV that can make you have a physical reaction is a level above normal media. Media is made to move us and inspire us and make us cry and laugh and feel. And The Mandalorian Season 2 managed to do all those things for multiple people. And yes, it might be about a puppet and a man in a helmet, but it has more feelings in it than all of Netflix put together.
Yeah, I would like to say, you said that TV is supposed to inspire us, make us move and feel and be physical and stuff. I was physical after the prom. I was sick and shat myself.
Well, the prom did exactly what it's meant to do then.
Cool. I was just checking. Maybe that's my top one.
I'm a bit annoyed with myself that I didn't think of documentaries, because the 2 best I've watched this year are The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan one, and
Yeah, that was good.
Of Mice and Men, the Wu-Tang Clan one is absolutely phenomenal as well.
Yeah, exactly. I've not watched a lot of documentaries this year, but I did watch the Springsteen one, which I wish I could remember its name. The Letters I Wrote to You, I think is called, Apple Plus. That's beautiful. That's just him making an album in the most beautiful wintry landscape, all shot in 4K cinematic cameras, and it just is a joy to watch visually, even though there's very little context to it all.
Is that just shot in a barn, isn't it?
No, that's Western Stars. That's his movie of last year. Springsteen now seems to just do a movie with every album, which is fine by me, you know, because he might as well. He's rich, he's famous, he's got the funds and the times.
Yeah,
And with his album this year, he did another making of, which is shot at the recording studio, which I cannot remember its name, but it's beautiful. It's worth a watch if you've got Apple Plus. But yeah, the one definitely not worth watching, The Beastie Boys. Just go read the book. The book is fantastic.
Chris will be good to know. I don't know if you watched it, Chris, but the Taylor Swift documentary is really good.
It's
good. It is actually. It is. Gives you
That's
quite a good
very, very good.
I'm just like,
I can't wait till we're all together. We can do our discussion on Taylor Swift's last album when we launch our Geekified music.
I will happily review 1989 and Reputation. I have not listened to anything since.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, there was Invisible Man. That was, yeah, it teetered around my fifth place for a good minute. That was a great way to kick off lockdown. It was like, what, 9 days after lockdown was announced, Blumhouse just said, you know what, bugger it, we'll put this onto VOD. And what a movie to start lockdown with. I think
the same as The Hunt.
Yeah, The Hunt and The Invisible Man were the same day, and I think that's one of the reasons why The Hunt made it onto my poor list, because in comparison, it is terrible. Yeah. Everything The Invisible Man got right, The Hunt got wrong. You know, there's no tension, there's no story arc, there's just no redeeming features. Whereas The Invisible Man, you know, you pointed out that you look into the corner of a room and you felt tense and uneasy, Nathan. You were completely right. Like, I cannot remember she is currently everywhere and in every product, and I can't think of her name. Is it Elizabeth
Moss?
Moss. Elizabeth Moss. She is so excellent in both The Handmaid's Tale and this. I think if you got any other actress, this movie would not have made it to anyone's top 5. She definitely sells that eerie tension of being scared of a completely empty room.
Yeah. She's got that underlying fear thing. She captures it so well. Just this tension of something inside of her you can see is kind of trying to, she's got a plain face. It's like Marlon Brando acting. He says, like, you don't really have to do anything. It should be all the nuances in your face that show what you're thinking. And she does that absolutely perfectly.
I mean, the first thing I watched her in was The West Wing, and she grew into that part really well, and then sort of obviously went Mad Men after that, and then My Handmaid's Tale and various movies and stuff like that. But yeah, she's I think she's on the cusp of being. She's getting to that age as well where she can start taking the really serious dramatic roles. Because it seems to be with this sort of sex thing in Hollywood, if you're young, you can't have these really serious roles. You've got to do these other sort of powder puff stuff, and then as you get into your late 30s, early 40s, you can start taking the really good roles. And I think she's at that stage now, and I think she's got a very clever agent who doesn't let her do shit. Yeah. Possibly the same agent as Leonardo DiCaprio, maybe. I don't know.
So Mandalorian made it onto almost everyone's list apart from Chris's. So do we think The Mandalorian is repairing all the damage done to the universe and the fandom by such movies as The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker?
This is the one thing I hope they don't end up doing in season 3 and 4, is what they tried to do in episode 9 was fix the first 2 movies that they did. Do not use Mando to try and fix episode 8 and 9. Don't.
I don't see why they would though. I mean, Jon Favreau said that he's got carte blanche to do what he wants. So why would I don't agree that he would do that? I mean, apart from it, I didn't mind the Star Wars films. They weren't as good as the original ones, but they weren't horrific. This was much better. You know, it was much better than that. Much simpler story. It's all about the guy getting a baby from one side of the galaxy to the other, and then such shit happens on the way. Just simplify it and make it fantastic, which is what Star Wars was originally.
I think the one thing that I think the Mandalorian could have done better is having Captain Jean-Luc Picard turn up and just fuck everybody up.
No, Chris, this is the wrong debate for that.
Oh, sorry.
This is not Star Trek versus Star Wars, the Battle of the Stars. we need a catchier title for that special. But
People don't want
it is coming, viewers.
I don't know. Yeah.
Who knows? You don't know what I have planned for that episode. I might make you all sing for your alliance. Starfleet or the Rebellion. Nathan is pulling out in the lead here. Okay, so another one that creeped up in a couple of lists was Palm Springs. Fantastic rehash of Groundhog Day. But I think everything that Groundhog Day got wrong, Palm Springs managed to get maybe not right, but better.
Yeah.
It's largely the exact same movie.
Yeah, it's largely the same movie, but I think it was so high up on mine on the basis of they managed to retell it without it seeming tired, which I think is, if you can retell the same story without you constantly comparing it the whole time, I think that's great storytelling. I think that they managed to do that really, really well.
I think a more intelligent film than Groundhog Day, I would say.
Yeah, it definitely is more intelligent, and the romance is far more believable, and the angst is a little less important, but also exactly the same amount of importance in the right places. But I think for me, did I watch Palm Springs first? And then I think I texted you, Chris, to go, you have to watch Palm Springs.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I think I watched it the day it came out, and I texted you to like immediately go watch it, because it was one of those films that I think everyone that was in a texting distance of me got a text saying, go watch this film. It's feel good. It's funny. It'll actually make you laugh for an hour and a half. It's just a very good movie.
I think it's if you watch it, I've watched it 3 times, I think now, and it's very layered as well. There's if you want to just watch a rom-com, you can watch it. If you want to watch something a bit more sci-fi, it's a bit of that in there. There's some quite sort of melancholic bits in it as well, and because in Groundhog Day, when he does the bit when he kills himself over and over again, it's a bit more humorous. Whereas this, you feel quite sorry for Andy Samberg's character, and I've forgotten the actress's name again.
Malotti.
That's the one. You feel quite sorry for their characters at one point, which I thought was really very clever the way they did that. And then the random dinosaurs all the time is just cool. Just cool.
I think like there's so many things in it that I think they didn't answer, and I think that was really good about it. Because I think there was discussions of doing another one, and in the same kind of world with the same idea, but it doesn't look like they're going to do it now, sadly. But I think it's still good enough to do another one. Maybe with the same concept or the same thing happening. I
think the one thing that Palm Springs got a wee bit wrong was not enough J.K. Simmons. His character actually probably had the darkest, most depressing of all the time loops out of everyone. And there's that scene when he is just sat in his back garden having to relive the same day over and over and over and over. And you realize like quite how much that is affecting him. And it's a shame that his character was completely sidelined and was only really in it in 3 scenes for comedic relief. I think if they were to go back to that universe, I'd actually like it to focus on the J.K. Simmons character for a movie of his own.
There was obviously thousands of theories online about this film after it came out. One of the theories was that J.K. Simmons is actually Andy Samberg, but older, and the grandmother was Miliota, a bit older as well. So they might, which I thought was quite a really cool idea, if that was what it was.
Interesting. I haven't actually done any theory searching on it. I just enjoyed it for what I took away from the first watch.
Well, I haven't seen it, so I'm going to watch it tonight.
Yeah,
yes,
it's a great watch, Tony. It's a great film.
Yep. Okay, so I think I'm going to have to concede and say that the most recommended movie by Geekified of 2020 is sadly Tenet. Because it's the only one that appears on 3 lists.
Right, get Sean in. Get Sean in.
Liked it. He liked Tenet.
Did he?
Yep. Yes. I mean, so let's talk about Tenet. Like, sell it to me. What is it I'm missing? And don't fucking say the science, Chris. Because I will make an entropy machine and punch you in the balls, then go slightly back in time and punch you in the balls, and go slightly back in time and punch you in the balls until your balls no longer exist. So do not tell me the science is what makes
All right,
that
though,
movie
Chris.
good.
After he does that, I'll invent an entry machine, a reverse entry machine that'll unpunch your balls.
Oh, thank you. Why is my balls seem to be the target of this?
Because for the viewers at home, Chris decided to very much wind me up, and there is a huge text chain of probably about 200 texts fighting over the science of Tenet, just because Chris was pulling my plunger, as we say here in Scotland.
He was getting so annoyed. It was so funny, and I was in work with my phone, just like people were just looking at me going, "What are you laughing at?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's fine." Just texting him, he's like, "Stop it, bloody this and bloody that," and I'm like, "But Mark, you just don't understand it, mate."
To me, Tenet is just a poor man's James Bond, that they were like, "Oh shit, this is a terrible script. How can we make it better? Let's put in some really half-baked science."
See, I don't see. That's the thing. I don't see it as half baked. I enjoy when someone takes a theory and runs with their theory. I like that.
Is it reverse baked? Is that what you see it as?
Shut up, you quick witty new hosty whips. Stop it.
Yeah, but it still doesn't make sense. The whole story of why.
Do any Christopher Nolan films make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, the Dark Knight trilogy.
Dark Knight
I'm not talking about
Batman. Come on.
Batman bollocks. I'm talking about and the Prestige is another one that probably doesn't. But the rest, the more recent.
I actually think the Prestige is easily his best film.
No, I
because,
agree.
first of all,
I love that film.
It's got rounded out characters, which so few of his films have. It's got a plot which is not overbaked, is overcomplicated, but all the clues to exactly what happens are there throughout the whole movie. It's not a Sherlock Holmes. It's not at the very last second going, but you didn't see secretly on the bottom of the shoe there was a leaf that could only be found in one tree in one park in one place in London at this time of year. It wasn't that. The Prestige actually is his best movie because it's a well-written script before a great director made it look visually stunning. Whereas Tenet, to me, was just not a well-written script before a great director made it look visually stunning.
Disagree.
What? No, can we talk about John?
I do think the one thing I do agree with a lot of people. A lot of people did say about Tenet. It's a negative thing. Is he didn't really use the scenery as much. He could have. There was a lot of glorious places where they shot in. And a lot of it was fast paced. Like the scene with the fire truck and stuff, that was kind of fast paced. Yeah. You couldn't really see the bit when he was talking to the one to get the guns from the Indian woman. You couldn't really see the place where the heist took place at the start of the movie. You couldn't really see.
Can we talk about how excellent John David Washington is, right? In such movies as The Black K Klansman, another Spike Lee movie. A director that understands about rounding out characters and their motivations and actually giving them titles. Why was John David Washington just called the protagonist? That's the laziest thing I've ever heard in writing ever.
But that's like saying in With Neil and I, the guy's called I and he's not the name. It's the same thing, isn't it?
I don't know. I just felt that the character who is supposed to be our lead in that movie.
Yeah, he's the protagonist. Yeah.
Yeah, he is literally called the protagonist. He is just not rounded out at all. I feel that there's also some fight scenes where obviously like one person's going in reverse and I think you originally see the fight scene. This is in the art corridor when the air system kicks in. And he is fighting his reverse entropy self. Mm-hmm. It just looks like the test stunt footage. It doesn't even look well shot, that scene. And seriously, go back and rewatch that scene.
I have now.
The cuts cut in so close that you can't see anything in some points, which is just not Christopher Nolan's great direction.
He did that in the last Batman film, didn't he? When Batman was fighting Bane, it was all very close up.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt Tenet falls very flat.
Did you not think Pattinson was good in it? I thought he was phenomenal.
I thought, I think I texted the group after watching it saying I am very excited for Emo Bat now, that seeing how good Patterson was in Tenet.
He really does. He really eats the scenery in a good way. You know what I mean? He really, when he comes on, he owns the screen when he's there, and I think that's good for playing Bruce Wayne, especially.
I think about John David Washington's character is that in this, although because it's all about time loops and weird stuff like that, although he seems to be far on in his story, you get the sort of inclination at the end. He's actually at the start of the story. He's at the start, and he's, you know, weird things have happened and all this sort of stuff. So I think that the fact he's not rounded out is because he's at the beginning. You know, I think rather than towards the end.
I think this initially, the Tenet was going to be a franchise. I think that was the idea. That was when if you read all of before COVID, if you go back and read all of what he was building up to, it was going to be a franchise like James Bond. He was creating the world of Tenet.
Yeah, I think, and see if it had been a franchise, I think we'd be having a different story 3 movies later. As I now see a fully developed character. But it is a shame. Yeah, Tenet was trying to do that is it called bookending it, when you start in the same place that you end in a movie, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Tenet was trying to do that thing because obviously this is a huge spoiler. Patterson's character walks away going, John David Washington shouts after him going, "You never told me who hired you." And Patterson says it was you.
Yeah.
You know, so Tenet is somewhat paradoxical, and Tenet has to happen for Tenet to happen. Yep. You know, it becomes a very convoluted Doctor Who storyline from season 6 of Doctor Who once again. And I don't know. I personally just felt the fight scenes in Tenet are the weakest of Nolan's directing.
And Aaron,
talent.
I'm going to mention, but is it Aaron Taylor Johnson?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we'll call him Kick-Ass from now on.
Kick-Ass, yeah. He looked like a 15-year-old boy in an army costume, going, "Oh, I'm gonna be pop, pop, pop." I'm just like,
he thought he was still filming Godzilla.
Chris, where's the mute button on here?
That as well, just was like that, you know, trying to be like in front of all.
No, I disagree with that. I think he was phenomenal.
No,
I do really hope that maybe Tenet is continued into a franchise, or maybe we get comic books or something, because I really want that story to become good. There's so much potential there that the camera work misses. I feel the science is... I just feel that in a movie with big, fantastic science... in a movie with big, fantastic science, it shouldn't be trying to explain itself for 90% of the movie, because none of the actors understand it. I mean, have you read all the tweets that the actors have put out since the movie going, "I spent all 90 days on set not understanding one thing I was doing. Am I still entropyed backwards?"
They weren't given the full script, though. That's what they don't tell you. This is how the media have been spinning this. They were like, "Oh, the actors didn't understand anything." They weren't given the full script. No one was given the full script.
Because he probably hadn't even finished it.
No, he had.
He didn't even understand the script. He was like, "Oh."
I mean, this isn't Tom Holland spoiling Endgame. This is just a movie. This is just a bad James Bond. Like, you could give the actors the whole script. They're not going to ruin that movie.
You say that. You say it's a bad James Bond, but it turns out to be the #1 geekified film of the year.
On that terrible, depressing note, let's hope that 2021's a wee bit better for movies than AI.
But Mando was the most. The 4 of us got that, so Mando's
very high. Yeah, I would have put it in. I'm just not a super Star Warsy person, but I will honourable mention for me.
It's a weird year for TV and not for film.
Can I ask one thing before we go? Mm-hmm. What are we all looking for 2021? What's the biggest thing you're looking forward to?
Oh, I'm looking forward to them fixing Cyberpunk 2077, because at the moment that game is unfucking playable. I can't wait for that to be fixed.
Fair play.
I'm looking forward to going to the cinema again, because I love it. If that ever happens again, tomorrow that film Spree comes out, which I think is going to be phenomenal. There are a few other a couple of trailers I watched today. I can't remember the names now. A Denzel Washington serial killer film about to come out, which looks really good.
Ooh.
And there's a Anthony Mackie Netflix one coming out in January called, I was looking at YouTube today, so I'll just find out. It's called Outside the Wire.
Okay.
Looks really good. And that's as far forward as I'm going, because everything else will probably get cancelled and put forward to 2022.
Yeah.
Mine's is Black Widow.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and Black Widow, few of the Disney, and Michael Bay's new film, Fear of Injection, where he'll be injecting nanoids into people.
Apparently, the Zack Snyder, what one he's doing just now?
What's he doing?
Not Justice
Army
League.
of the Dead.
Yeah, apparently that's going to be probably towards the summer. I think that'll be pretty good.
That'll be good. Yeah.
Is anyone actually looking forward to the Snyder Cut?
No.
Yeah.
No.
I'm actually looking forward to see it, to see if it actually makes a difference. And I go, wow.
I'm looking forward to it.
Studios do muck-up films.
I do. I agree with in a way with what Tony's saying. Like, I agree that you should be able to finish your projects without people fucking messing that up. You hire a director for a reason. You don't hire a director and then tell him to film other stuff.
End of the day, Snyder Cut was never messed up because of the studio's interference. Snyder obviously had that great personal loss in the death of his son, and he had to bow out. It wasn't that they came in and was like, no, we don't trust you anymore, here's Josh Whedon to finish it off. It was genuinely Snyder bowed out. You know, so I feel that everyone saying the studio interfered with Justice League is a big misunderstanding of what actually happened at the time Justice League went all shits up.
Yeah.
I'm
I
sick
would
of the
have
cuts.
paused it.
I'm sick of the cuts. I'm sick of them.
You haven't had any yet?
The
Pat
film's
Jenkins
out.
cut.
No, fuck off. The film's out. You didn't like it. Move on. Don't try and rewrite history. Let's fucking remake everything we didn't like before. It's bullshit, man. Not everything's going to be good, even stuff we want to be. Just fucking leave it.
Philmont, I'm going to say.
Yeah, I think you're spot on
Yeah.
there, Nathan, because I think all of us were really, really looking forward to Wonder Woman 1984,
Not me.
and sadly, it is just nothing compared to one. But I'm not sitting here going, edit it again, cut it again, shoot extra scenes again. We're just going, all right, third time's the charm.
I don't think
you know,
there wasn't anything cut from that. That's what I'm saying. Is like there was no changes, or no nothing. That's her vision. That's what she made. She made that pile of shit. So
Studio
I think it's different when someone else it's like David Ayer's Suicide Squad. I'd love to see what they did with that because he openly admitted after he'd done his run with it that 90% of the film was changed from stuff that he didn't want. It was nothing to do with his script. So I mean, that's I'd love to see.
yeah, and it was all.
That's in the
I
editing.
also
So
love-
he signed a contract to say he wasn't going to get the final edit on the film, so it's partly his fault as well, no?
No, he's not going to. Nobody's going to sign a contract to say, as a director, you're not going to get the final edit. What Warner Brothers are always going to have the say in the end of it, regardless. And his point was that he made his cut, he'd done it, and it was just ripped apart and torn apart. And he says
Yeah,
that.
but hopefully David Ayer can learn from his mistake, because obviously we know another very famous David that gave away the editing cut to the studio, which is David Lynch with Dune. And Lynch has walked away from so many projects now when the studio tries to step in and interfere, or they say that they want final say. Lynch just walks away now. And that's why I think everything that Lynch makes, even if sometimes it's too crazy to understand, it's always got that quality of a Lynch movie now, you know?
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, DCU, Warner Brothers, whoever it is, they made the Nolan Batman films, and he got his cut on them. So it's, you know, you got to studio meddling. I know is a pain in the ass, but ultimately they own the property. They're the one that put their money up, and they're the one that do the thing. So if they decide, then they have to live with the consequences of it, you know. So I think, Matt Reeves got to cut Joker to how he wanted it. So I think you've got to look at the director a little bit as well, or producer at least.
I think there was, David Ayer did a full cut, didn't he? It just tested poorly, and then they gave the cut over to the trailer company.
The trailer company cut it and made it look different, obviously, to make it look good. The trailer that he did first, they said wasn't light-hearted enough. and that's where the kind of misunderstanding is. But he said 85 to 90% of his film that he put together is not the film that he went. He spent millions on reshoots and stuff that it was never in his script.
But we're getting into a very different
deep
topic here, but it's also the fact that the DCEU tried to turn everything into Guardians of the Galaxy after a certain point. 2015, everything became Guardians of the Galaxy for no reason.
I know.
Yep.
But
We'll say, Chris, I'm reading a lot of top 20 lists of this year. You're going to hate the fact that Birds of Prey was on a lot of people's top 20s.
I didn't like Birds of Prey either.
Birds of Prey was awful.
Yeah, it's a lot of people's top 20s.
Sadly, I didn't even bother watching it after you guys telling me it was terrible.
Maybe it just shows that the bar's just. That's what I'm saying. The Oscars. This is what I'm actually looking forward to. Is the Oscars. Who's going to be nominated? What films?
Just Tenet.
And then people be like that. Oh, when did you win your Oscar? Oh, for 2020. Oh, stop.
The year 6 things came out.
Yeah.
So there you have it. That is the Geekified top 20 of 2020. It's not top 20 of 2020. There you have it. That is the top 5 of 2020 from each of the Geekified teams. We hope you managed to survive the year. It wasn't too traumatic. And the alien overlords that are coming this evening treat us fairly. All the best from everyone here at Geekified. Have a nice 2021.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everyone.
I was about to say we did Tenet films, but that's...